I can send you the recording afterwards. But I will say officially again, welcome to all of you to the December What Works marketing webinar. This is a really fun series for me and it started because everybody I talk to, when I'm clients, when I'm networking, everyone always asks me, okay, so what works when it comes to marketing? And it's different for every company. Based on who your clients are, what your business goals are, what you're trying to accomplish. But so many things change. Marketing is one of those things that there's always new things, there's always tweaks. Google's always going to make an adjustment to something. And so how do you stay on top of all of these different marketing activities? And so that's where this series started. And so for this particular webinar, I've asked everyone who has presented in the past if they wanted to join me, because a question that came up is, all right, I'm trying to do marketing on my own, but what tools, what equipment, what do I need to make this work? And so what better than to ask the experts who are doing this every day, what are your favorite tools? What's your favorite stuff that you like to use that makes marketing easier for you as a marketing professional? And so today is really going to be a very casual conversation. Feel free to ask questions along the way. I do have some slides just to help keep us on track. But really feel free to put questions in the chat or to just raise your hand and say, hey, what can you tell me more about this or that? And so I'm gonna share my screen and get us started. Not the right button. All right, so discover the best marketing tools for 2023. All right, so with us today, we have Delana Dillon. She is a social marketing expert and really just a fabulous human being. And so she presented on maximizing social marketing a few months ago. And so all of the webinars that we've done in the past are all available on YouTube. So if you want to go back and review something, that is an option for you. So Delaney, you want to take it away? You want to talk about your tips and tools and what has worked for you?
So I agree. People are always looking for like the best app, which there are a lot of great apps when it comes to, doing things for your social media. There's a lot of great apps you can use. So I'm sure everyone here probably has their favorite. And really I think what it boils down to is like figuring out what you want to try, but it's nice to be able to know a good suggestion before you start learning that app. So some of these are like no-brainers, and some of them are tools that you're like, oh yeah, I should probably get that, but it's just one of those things you just keep putting off because it's not the most important thing to you in the moment. So a lot of times I get asked what app to use when I make videos and reels of any kind. And it does depend on what kind of a video I'm doing as to how I make that. So this is kind of a myth that maybe at one time was true, but it's not true now. So a lot of people have said, you have to make your reels in the platform that you're going to post it on. So if you're making it in TikTok or you're posting it on TikTok, you need to make it in TikTok. And if you're posting it on Instagram, you need to make it in Instagram. And that's not true. They are not going to silence your video or prevent it from getting out there just because you made it in another app. Now, if you do have like a logo, like if you've seen people on Instagram, they have like their TikTok, they made it in TikTok and they have their little name, their handle from TikTok on there. that is not a good thing because that will prevent your video from being seen. And same thing in reverse for TikTok. But you can't, there are ways to, on TikTok, you can pay to get that off, or you could create it in another app. Inshot is one that I really like. It's great for vertical video or landscape video, either one. They do have some music in there. It's a paid version. You can get music in there that is royalty free. And you can do basically anything you want, transitions, titles, all the stuff. So again, these are just for videos that are just for like social media. If you want a higher grade video, I'm not necessarily recommending this for that, but I will jump down to the fifth one because like I said, Inshot does have music, royalty-free music in the app you can use, but it's a lot of times I find that it's not the music I was wanting or envisioning. And again, if you're wanting the trendy Instagram video, just download the video or make the video without audio, put it in when you put it in Instagram. But if it's like a video that you're wanting to kind of like an infomercial type thing, you need a specific sound. I recommend Sound Strip, which is the very last one on that screen. They have so many options and they are great quality, unique. You're not going to hear that audio everywhere. So that is a monthly subscription, or you can just, it's a lot cheaper if you do it just monthly subscription, and you can get out of the subscription anytime. So it's not an ongoing commitment, but SoundStrip is a really great audio resource. And then Canva, everyone knows Canva when you're trying to make things quick. You know, I've always in the past used Photoshop and things like that for graphics, but when you're doing a large volume of graphics, Canva makes things so much easier. And also the thing that I love the most about it for what I do is I have branding kits set up for each of my clients. So they have their colors, their fonts, all that kind of stuff. So literally I'm like working on a graphic for somebody, I'm going to change the color of something. I just go over to their branding kit and automatically right there, those are all the colors I can use. So I love Canva, that feature specifically on Canva. And then the tripod and the ring light, those are just things if you're wanting to, you know, you might not be able to do the full blown, bring in a videographer and all this stuff, but just doing little things like a phone tripod, a ring light, and if you want to go crazy, get a little mic, that will really, really help your video stand out and just look a lot better quality.
Those are awesome. You're going to see Canva a few times today because I think many of us use that. But yeah, I mean, I have a ring light it does have a photo or a phone stand on it, so it's the best of both worlds. But that Inshot app, I'm going to have to give that a try because that's not one I've used before. But Delana knows that video is not necessarily my very favorite thing to do, but I'm working on it because it's such an important tool when it does come to marketing and especially your social media. So thank you for those great tips. Does anybody have any questions for Delana?
I'll just say I've used the Inshot app and I do like it. It's reasonably user-friendly for figuring out how to make a video. But I ended up switching to doing most of my videos in Canva and then downloading them back to my phone so that I could post them on multiple platforms without having to like reformat it every time.
Oh, that's a good tip. Any other questions?
Yeah, I just, yeah, I have a question, but I'm trying to figure out how to formulate it. 15 years ago, I was doing classes for small business owners on how to use social media. And I was considered a social media expert. Now that's laughable, like just laughable. I don't now I would pay someone to do that for me, and I'm considering doing that. Are there tools out there? Like I used to use Hootsuite It used to be great. It's not now. I haven't touched it in years, but it stopped being great a long time ago. Are there tools that you would recommend that, and I don't know if they're called aggregators or what. Are there tools like old school Hootsuite that you recommend to keep track of, or to not to view, but to share information on multiple channels?
Yeah, I know a lot of people still do use Hootsuite.
Need it.
So they do use that. It depends on, of course, what platforms you're wanting it to get posted to. For Instagram and Facebook, I personally use the Meta Business, through Facebook.
Right.
And that's for a couple of reasons. I've had things like not post, have glitches, formatting issues, and I have personally, there are apps that can 100% do all that. But personally, I like to just know it's not going to glitch, and knowing that the format is going to be the way I wanted it and put it in there as. And I've experienced less issue with Meta Business. And so I'm not that it's never let me down, but I've experienced a lot less issue, and I just kind of trust that. So that's what I personally use.
Okay.
So you would post to TikTok using TikTok, and you would.
TikTok, I would do that separately. Yeah, I would do it separately. So I don't even know that I don't know of anything that will automatically post to TikTok.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I meant. So you would use TikTok to post to TikTok, and you would use Meta for Facebook and Instagram, and LinkedIn for LinkedIn. I hate LinkedIn.
And Hootsuite, I believe that, I know Hootsuite can do LinkedIn. So, if that's also a thing, that's great. And for me personally, with what I do, I know a lot of people just like post and forget about it, but I know there's a lot of power in interacting while you are on the app.
Right.
And all of these apps are trying to draw you to spend time on the app. And so regardless, I think it's good to spend a little bit of time after you've posted on the app, engaging and interacting. And so that's kind of just something to build time in to do that, like when you're posting.
Okay. So can I ask another question? I don't want to dominate. Okay. So I have this for a podcast. Is it weird? Is this weird to use in just regular videos? Okay.
No, you look profesh.
I know. I'm telling you, I enjoy it. Look at it's like giant. And so it's pretty fun. Okay, so it's okay to use and not silly.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
All right. Well, next we're going to talk to Dominic Schultz with Diagon Design. He specializes in websites and SEO, and his webinar was Unlocking the Secrets of SEO. And so he has some tips for us on just kind of his favorite things that he likes to use.
Well, thanks, Elizabeth. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Are we good?
We're good.
All right, perfect. My setup's a little janky today, but we're here. So yes, thank you. Some of my favorite tools would be down the list. So starting with number one, I like SEMrush, and that's probably what I use the most in a day-to-day in my business. So what it's really good for is on SEO, doing your keyword research. So figuring out what keywords get the most search volume, what people are looking for, and then it can give you keyword recommendations on top of that go along with the keywords you've then brainstormed. So usually the process for me goes, I'll have a client submit a list of keywords they want to rank for. I'll plug a lot of them into SEMrush, and it'll tell me which ones have search volume, which ones we can ignore because no one's looking for them right now, and the different variations I need to keep track of. And then it will tell me updated stats on those keywords month over month, as well as so many different accessories to that. So in addition to that, it also does great reporting. Once you've plugged in those keywords and you've done SEO on your website, it will track what positions you rank for those keywords. So it'll tell you if you're position 10, 15, 20, page 1, anything like that. Then going past that, it can also do competitor analysis. So you can plug in your competition, see what they rank for, what they're doing well, where they can improve on, and how you can beat them. So it's such a powerful tool. I pay way too much for it every month, but they've got free subscriptions that you can, I believe, get up to 5 to 10 reports for free. And then they've also got lower tier plans for like people just starting out, anywhere up to like massive agency plans that cost $500 to $1,000. So it's got a little something for everybody. And I think if you apply it in your business, and I mean, just for SEO, it's such a powerful tool. That's why it's number one on my list. It's my favorite. But after that, I like the all-in-one SEO plugin for WordPress. It goes by AIO SEO. What that's really good for is if you have a WordPress website, and that's what I do mostly, it's WordPress websites. So what it's really good for is that once you have it set up, it will allow you to, how do I want to put that? And it's noisy here. It will allow you to optimize everything on your page and gives you an optimization score in the back end of your website on top of that, as well as it's really good at is page titles and meta descriptions. And in SEO terms, it's basically, it helps you put the keywords on your website in the right places where you wouldn't think to do it. And it's got a very easy and intuitive way to do that. So that's why it's number 2 on my list. Afterwards, number 3, Elementor Pro for WordPress. So that is the main page builder I use. It'll help you make a really easy, attractive website. And it's very simple for people to pick up and learn. Once it's installed, it's as simple as dragging and dropping elements on your page. And you can click, drag, move things around, click on the photos, change them, click on the text, type in real time, and it's phenomenal. I can get on a call with my clients and we can edit their website in real time and see what they like, where we can improve on, add content as we go, change the copy in real time, and it's phenomenal. It's such a powerful tool and it's worth every time. They've got subscriptions ranging anywhere from free for the free version, which is still very powerful, all the way up to, I think you can buy bulk agency plans for a few $100. So it's relatively inexpensive for what it is, and the capabilities are phenomenal. So if you're looking for a way to build your WordPress website, Elementor Pro is the way to do it. Number 4 on my list is Cloudways. And what that is that's a web host. So that's the place that you put your website when you need it to be on the internet. They've got really, really affordable servers. I think they start anywhere from like $12 a month, and it's phenomenal. I send all my clients there. On top of that, if you have friends and you want to refer them, they give you and your friend a kickback if one of your friends signs up. So when I refer my clients, usually I get a bonus, they get a bonus, and we're both happy, as well as it's very fast. And for SEO, that's very good because you want the page to load as quickly as possible. And then number 5 is the Google Sitekit plugin for WordPress, and it's made by Google for all Google services. And what that does really well is it lets you install Google Analytics, Google Search Console, and use page speed insights all from one easy dashboard inside your website. So it combines all 3 of those different services into one easy to use and easy to read dashboard, as well as it'll link you out to all of those different services for when you're ready to use them. Other than that, those are probably my top 5. I'd say day to day, I use almost all of these every single day. All of my websites are on Cloudways. I use Elementor almost daily, definitely daily. SEMrush daily for sure. I always like waking up and checking to see how my websites have changed overnight in position tracking, as well as Google Sitekit. It's got all your analytics there. So instead of digging through dashboards and going through each individual service, it's nice to just go right to your website. You click on that plugin and it'll show you everything you want to know.
So Dominic, one of the questions that came in from the chat is, what are people paying or charging for SEO managed by a third party? I mean, this person's gotten quotes from $42 to $500 a month.
It really depends on what you're getting. So from $42, I'm not sure what a company would be doing. At $500, I know it's a lot clearer of at least what my company can provide. But I'd say minimum spend on a good monthly SEO campaign that's managed by someone reputable, you wouldn't want to spend less than $500 a month. Just for example, my stuff starts at about $1,000 a month. And the way that prices is by time. So how much time gets allocated to a certain campaign. But I'd love to talk about it, or if you have SEO going on from another company already, I do free website audits, shameless plug. So if you want me to tell you what you got going on, how it's working, and if it's doing the things you want it to do, I'd be happy to take a look for free.
Sure. Another question came in. Do you use a heat map app on your website?
Yes. So it's a plugin, didn't make my list because I don't mess with it nearly as much, but one of the best ones out there is called Hotjar. And the way that works is that it's almost like you're looking over the shoulder of your users. As long as you disclaim it in your privacy policy, you're all good on your end. And what it allows you to do is create heat maps, see what people are clicking on, where they go on your pages, where the mouse cursor moves, and overall just what gets interacted with the most on your page. It's, I believe, a very easy install as well. All you have to do is sign up for an account with them and they give you a code to put on your website.
Yeah, that one's really interesting. I've used it before just to see where people are going and, you know, how long people are staying, and just to get a better feel for how people are interacting with the site.
I have a
Yeah,
question.
it's phenomenal.
I have a question, but it's kind of about the question from Jamie. So what are people charging for SEO managed by a third party? Is that like by a third party? Is that considered what you do, Dominic, or is that something different that I don't like? Is that a different way of doing SEO? Third party, that's you?
The way I interpreted it, and I might be incorrect, so feel free to correct me if I'm not addressing it correctly. Feel free to jump in. But my take on SEO managed by a third party is yes, having an agency come in, do all the SEO for you turnkey, manage your website and everything like that.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah, and cost wise, I'm not sure, you know, what you'd be getting at $42. I mean,
Not
shoot,
much, I can
just-
tell you that.
I was gonna say, like, that's a great price, but I hope you're getting your money's worth and actually, you know, doing some stuff. But as for SEO, a lot of it just comes down to time, how much hard work is put into the campaign. That's what most pricing models that I've seen are based off of. Is just how much time the agency allocates to your campaign, what their hourly rate is, what they bill at, and overall just what they're able to do for you. Obviously, more time, more money is better, but everyone's different. Everyone has different needs and different goals.
SEO is one of those things that still feels a little bit black hole to me. Like I know just enough to be dangerous. So what, if you're just starting with SEO, you know, can you talk just a smidge about kind of why you need it now, why it's so important?
For sure. So the basics of SEO are that, you know, everyone is on Google these days. Whenever you search like on an Android phone, that's the default search engine they use, and on iPhone, etc. So whenever somebody Google searches for a certain term, so for example, let's say I woke up this morning and one of my pipes burst, right? What am I going to do? I'm going to go to Google, I'm going to type in emergency plumber in Tulsa, and I'm going to start calling until somebody answers, right? And the first person to answer their phone gets my business. But the thing is that, you know, if the first person I click on answers their phone, suddenly they've gotten that call. And the reason they show up first is either A, from an ad, or B, from SEO. So normally SEO is what puts you to the top organically, and it will display you with all your reviews, your business listing, your website, etc. And that's why it's important. The really big point to make with it is that, you know, early bird gets the worm. The person at the very top of the page is getting clicked on. Most people are not going to page 2 of Google. If you do, you're either looking for something really specific and you're only going to click on the thing you're actually looking for. Whereas with more broad keywords or people doing research or who have more transactional intent, like for example, if I want to get my car detailed, I'll go and type in auto detailer in Tulsa, and I'll go look at the websites, find a package I like, and book through that service. But I'm not going to go scroll down to the next page and click on someone there. I'm going to click on the first result because that's just how Google ends up working. So the benefits of SEO are positioning you in that #1 spot by making your website the friendliest it can to Google, and Google will reward you by moving you up the rankings and putting you at #1.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That helps explain. I think the other one is, so if you're paying for like ongoing, so you're saying $500 a month, what is that $500 doing?
For sure. So it depends on the company. I'll speak from my perspective. So if I were to do SEO for $500 a month, the way my company works is we make a custom strategy month over month. So in month 1, we do what's called a website audit. And we see where your existing online presence is. We pull your stats and see what keywords you rank for at the moment, and see against your competitors what you can improve on, what your competitors are doing. And then we reverse engineer the success of whoever is in the #1 spot for that term. So for example, we use plumbers as an example again. So let's say you own a plumbing company in Tulsa. If we want to figure out how to make you #1 for Tulsa plumber, then I'm going to go find the #1 website of Tulsa plumber, reverse engineer them, and build a strategy around it. And what that would come down to in month 1 would probably look like doing that competitor analysis, that research, and doing keyword research and figuring out which plumbing related keywords that we want you to rank for. At $500 a month, I would probably focus on more what I call low hanging fruit keywords, which are ones that are easier to rank for, but might not have nearly as much volume because of that. So for example, plumber in Tulsa, that's the big one everyone wants to rank for, that thousands of people search for. That's also the hardest because everyone else is trying to rank for it. Whereas if we go for more of like a long tail keyword, so for example, best emergency plumber in Tulsa. Now we've lengthened that search, but at the same time, it's a lot easier to rank for a term that's longer like that than it is for like Tulsa plumber, if that makes sense. So at that budget, we would be able to maximize the amount of ranking you're getting and visibility you're getting to that price point.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a great question.
All right. So next, we're going to talk to Camille about podcasting, because I know this is something that a lot of people are getting into. Either they are starting a podcast, they're thinking about starting a podcast. Camille's been doing this for years. I know she's shifting gears and starting a new one. So take it away, Camille, and tell us all about what we need to know if we are interested in either doing it ourselves or, hiring someone, or what do we need to know?
Right. So first up, who is even like considering thinking about maybe starting a podcast? Maybe one, two. Okay, a couple.
I've done one in the past.
You did one in the past?
Yeah.
Cool. So if you're not thinking about starting a podcast, you can still use these same tools and concepts for other marketing things that you might be doing. So if you're going to put a couple of informational videos out there, you're going to make a short training or something like that, you can use the same concept for those things. So if you're like, not doing a podcast, you don't have to tune out. You can still hopefully get some value from this. Whenever I think about something like starting a podcast, now that I've done it all wrong and then figured it out, and then I'm doing it a second time, I say figure out the important stuff first, like who your audience is, how this is going to benefit you, what is this going to do for your marketing strategy, what kind of theme or vibe or topic are you going to have around your podcast? How is this going to help you connect with your audience? Figure all that stuff out, which is the hard part and the non-exciting part, because getting on and recording and posting it is the fun, exciting part, but it's also a lot of work and it uses up a lot of time. So if you don't know how your podcast fits into everything else, the way Elizabeth is always talking about, like, what's your broad plan? How does this fit in? Right? If you don't know that, don't spend any time on the podcast yet. Go figure that out first. I will tell you, when I started my first podcast called Money Heart, I just did it because I thought I wanted to get the conversation about money going to build my financial services agency. And here we go. And it's COVID and I don't have anything else to do because no one's talking to me. So here, I'm going to make this thing. I made it so complicated. I have video and audio and guests and costumes and editing and posting in all these places and all this kind of stuff. And it turned into a wonderful podcast, but it kind of went a different direction than what I'd initially intended it for. So my new podcast, The Real Deal with Camille, will be starting next spring. And that one is much more aligned to my brand, my coaching business, entrepreneur journey, all of that stuff. It's easily consumable because it'll be short episodes, all that kind of thing. So I really encourage thinking about where you're going with it and what you want to do with it before getting caught up in equipment and tools and apps and production and spending tons of dollars trying to make it the most perfect audio quality podcast ever that could possibly be made, because you might have 3 listeners. So just know that at the beginning, it takes a while to build that stuff up. The most important part of having a podcast is the consistency. Your audience wants to know when the next episode's going to drop. So if you're doing every month, every week, whatever it is, they want to know when it's going to be. So figure out what you can do consistently and do that. So I try to simplify the list of tools here, and I go for things that are inexpensive, that are easy to use, that's not going to take you a ton of time, energy, and money to happen. Zoom is how I record my stuff. It allows me to talk to the person if I have a guest on the show. It makes the audio recording for me. So if you're only doing audio and not video, you don't have to worry about breaking it out. You don't have to, if you want to do video, ta-da, video's there. And it's free for up to 40 minutes. If you're recording for that time or less, you don't even have to pay for Zoom. So super easy. Is it the very best possible sound quality ever? Probably not. But is that the most critical thing? Not so much. Get rid of the barking dogs and the kids in the background and stuff like that. Go for good sound quality, but you don't have to go for amazing when you're first starting out. If you want to edit, I like Total Recorder. It's relatively inexpensive software. You just download it onto your computer. It lets you manipulate time, take out blips, things like that. Again, it's just one I've been using forever. It's probably not the most amazing audio editing software out there, but it gets the job done. And you can change formats and stuff like that. So if you need a particular format. I use Anchor FM to host my podcast. Spotify just bought them, so you'll probably see it listed under Spotify. It's free. I like that. I looked at other services where you have to pay, and I couldn't see what the difference was between paying for a service to host the podcast and hosting it for free. And if you want to get sponsors and stuff like that, you can do that through the app. It allows you to monetize and have sponsors and whatever if you want to do that sort of thing. But I think you have to grow your audience to a certain size before you can do that. And then I just have started saving things for my new podcast on Google Drive because it's backed up and I'm not going to lose it. I can also, I'm recording some solo episodes. And so I have a little app on my phone that's just a recorder. When I think of what I want to talk about, I just stop, get to a quiet place and go ahead and record it so I don't lose all my good ideas, because you know how that happens, right? You think it and then 20 minutes later you're like, what was that? I was really smart. It's gone, right? So I don't want to lose it. So I record it and then I can just upload directly from my phone to that Google Drive folder where I'm saving everything. So that makes it really simple. Of course, when you want to upload it to Anchor, you're going to have to pull it to your computer so that you can upload it because they don't talk to each other. But at least it's saved and backed up, because once it's recorded, you don't want to have to go back and re-record. That is just heartbreak. And then I use Canva for editing stuff, for making the graphics, because having the podcast is not the big thing. You got to tell people that the podcast exists. You can't just put it up there and expect that, ta-da, people will find my podcast. The same way that, Dominic does SEO, so people will find your website. You've got to do something for people to find your podcast. So the nice thing of your podcast is you've already created content. Now you're just going to make some little graphics to post on all the rest of your social media to be like, hey, go listen to my podcast. I have content. And the trend is actually going that people want to hear content in different ways from the same content provider. So they want to see you on LinkedIn and on Instagram and go watch your TikToks and listen to your podcast. If somebody's following you, they would like to consume your content in different ways. So that's kind of a great thing of having a podcast is, what do I email my list about? Oh, right, my new podcast episode. Here's what it's about. Go listen. Email done, post done, that type of thing. So there you go.
Oh, look at you with your marketing strategy. That just makes me happy.
It only took me 3 years to figure this out, right? I'm messing it up and doing it wrong and spending too much time. So hopefully all of you will benefit from my struggle and not have to have it so hard.
Okay, I have a question about Anchor FM.
Yes.
So is that, because I use Buzzsprout and that's where mine is hosted, but I'm paying for it. But is that, you host it there, is it kind of like a link tree? So do you have a landing page, and then depending on where they want to listen?
It does have a landing page. If they get onto the Anchor landing page, they will be listening through Anchor, you listen there.
Sure.
However, it will push to other platforms. So mine is automatically set up to push to 8 or 9 different platforms. So it's automatically on whatever the Apple thing is. I don't iPhone, so I don't understand. But it gets pushed to there. It gets pushed to Stitcher and Google and it gets pushed to all those other platforms through Anchor. So
Okay.
all I needed to do is I think there were a couple that I had to set it up, go make an account and then link it together. But once it's done, and every episode automatically pushes to all of them.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, super easy and still free. So I like that. And then a lot of times people ask me about things like mics and techie stuff like that. Just get a halfway decent microphone. It doesn't have to be amazing. Put it far enough away that you're not doing all the pops and clicks and stuff into it, and just halfway decent. Don't break the bank trying to start your very first podcast, because you'll probably end up making a lot of changes and it'll evolve over time. And if you suddenly have 100,000 listeners and you're getting paid for it, then great, go increase the quality. You can always amp your quality up later, but when you first start, you might discover you hate podcasting, or that the one you did is not the right thing and you got to change it. So don't stress over the first version.
So what you're saying is this is a learning experience?
It is. It's a journey for sure. It's a learning experience. It's an adventure, and you want to find something that really represents you and your brand and connects with your audience. So it might take a little while to kind of figure out what people respond to best. And so along those lines, like, don't stress over the details. Just get something out there that's reasonably good. That you don't want people turning it off because it sounds all scratchy and whatever, right? That would be too low. But as long as it's reasonably good, fairly quiet in the background, you're speaking clearly, they can hear you, they can listen to it, they're going to be engaged by your content. So go for quality of content rather than super high production quality straight out of the gate.
Okay, that's great advice. Does anyone have any other questions for Camille about podcasting?
Thanks for listening.
All right, so next we're going to talk to Iris Culp. So Iris is an HR specialist. But she is also a LinkedIn guru. And so her podcast or her webinar episode was using LinkedIn to grow your business. And so she was sharing kind of what she uses in her business, because she does a lot of work online, a lot of training. And she had some ones on her list that I had not used. So I'm very excited to hear what you have to share with us today.
Excellent. Yes, this is fun. And I have put my number one favorite right there in the number one spot. I'm going to give credit to who introduced me to this. TextBlaze was introduced by a gentleman named Robert Johnson. I use this so many times a day. I probably use it 10 to 20 times every day. What it is, I believe the technical term is called a TextExpander. And it's I only use the free version. You can download it, put it into basically your extension, like your Chrome or whatever extension, excuse me, you can put it as an extension of whatever search bar you use. And I wish I could demo it, but I can't because Zoom won't, kind of show my whole screen like that. But once you download it and put it on your Chrome bar, you basically go in there and touch one button. And let me explain what that one button does. In one click, I can be in my email over here. One click, I can say, here's my Zoom link. One click, I have a template that I got actually from Camille that says, hey, I met so-and-so today, XXX, I met blank today, and I think you guys should connect because blank, blank, blank. And I'm going to leave the two of you to talk because, I love to put brilliant people together, something to that effect. I'll leave it in your court. Because that tool right there and that opportunity, I have so much joy when I connect people that I think are going to help each other. It gives me this little, I guess, a dopamine rush or something. And having a way to say it and then having it in my TextBlaze, I literally do one click. I edit that little phrase, takes me another 30 seconds usually, and then I've connected two people. So it has helped me follow through on that intention. I probably connect 10, 15, 20 people a week because I have that tool. And then you can have, even in the free version, up to 20, they call it snippets. And you literally just go click once. Now, before I found that, I would have like a Google Doc or a Word doc, and I'd open the Word doc, go copy paste. I mean, there's not that many more clicks. I think it's probably 3 or 4 that I'm saving. But in today's, like, okay, I have 2 minutes, I can connect those people, or I have 2 minutes, or here's my private coaching hour link, here's my blah, blah, blah. The things that you're constantly using. So that is my favorite. The number 2, and I will rave about this. I am an affiliate, but I would absolutely rave the same way. So this is a CRM tool. And I'll say had my eyes open, looking around, scouting around a little bit for a CRM that wasn't, such an enterprise system. such built for these massive firms that you're like, okay, if I buy it, I'm going to have to like spend 10 hours figuring out how to implement it into my company. So this is called Memorand, because I think it's based on a Greek god or something. It's an interesting story. I told the owner, I said, it's a horrible marketing word, but he said, yeah, it's a great sales word, because people say, what the heck is Memorand? And then he's got a story. So created by a guy who's a solopreneur. He's a nerd, and he hates selling. He's a normal techie person. And he finally got so frustrated, he just started building his own. So it's a CRM specifically designed for solopreneurs, or, you know, kind of a 2-3 person shop, to keep track of and follow up and make it really easy. So that's a game changer, in my opinion. Now, he used to have a free version. He no longer has one. So it's a little pricier than some CRMs, but completely worth it, because it positions you to actually not lose track of people you need to stay in touch with. So I could tell you more, but Ruben Schwartz is the gentleman who designed it, and it's in an early stage, so you probably haven't heard of it, but he's also a lot of fun. Crystal is also a free tool, and it's basically an AI tool. And I have it integrated onto my LinkedIn. So there's some background to Crystal that I'll mention. So Crystal is basically an AI tool you can add on as an extension. For example, I have it on my LinkedIn. And if you have any familiarity with a tool, an assessment like DISC, or I think it now also includes Anagram, you can use an AI tool, and it will analyze I use DISC, it will analyze that person's DISC profile based on their LinkedIn write-up. And it is spooky, like weird spooky, how right it is. So if I'm meeting someone or about to meet someone, and to some degree, I've been so familiar with DISC for 20 plus years, I probably do it kind of intuitively. But if it's like someone contacts me and they say, let's talk a proposal, I will plug that in, and it'll tell me like, okay, this is a bottom line person, so I've got to cover what they want to know in the first 3 minutes, because they're a Heidi or whatever. So I forget how many free elements you have with it, but it can help you kind of tune into their frequency from the immediate get-go. So that's Crystal. And then Podcast Collaborative. This is a $15 a month subscription. So if you are looking to be a guest, or if you have a podcast and are looking for guests, it's basically, I'll say, it's a monthly collaborative experience where you come together on Airtable, which I love Airtable, but it's basically like concurrent ballroom or concurrent breakout rooms. Very different than Zoom, but more useful because some things I won't go into, but you choose your table by topic, say education, business, I forget all the segments. I think there's a health and wellness. So there's about 6 topical areas, and you basically in an hour go around to 4 different virtual tables, have a conversation with 4 people for roughly 15 minutes, and then get acquainted. And then, you know, the guest and the hosts mingle, and, you know, who are you looking for? And I've had some wonderful conversations, some wonderful introductions, and shown up a couple of times as a guest on that. So there's a free Facebook group you can join that's find a guest, be a guest, something like that. It has, I want to say 30,000 people in it. I don't know, something ridiculous. So instead of like wading through that whole Facebook, you know, show up once a month for an hour, $15, good use of time. ConvertKit, my favorite email tool, most user-friendly. You can set up landing pages, especially if you're in an early phase business. I know MailChimp is the most, I'll say probably well-known and popular. MailChimp, from what I looked at probably a year ago, and I don't think it's really changed much, if it has at all. They have horrible deliverability rates. I think MailChimp gets a lot of people because it's initially free, but ConvertKit does have an option to do the transfer for you. So that is my favorite email tool, newsletter tool. And it has some bells and whistles like landing pages, and it makes it super user friendly. So that's my list. That's it.
So one of the questions that came in, so it was about Crystal.
Yes.
Is the website crystalknows.com?
Yeah, I bet it is.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to send out the links in the
Yes.
follow-up email to all of the tools. So you'll
Yes.
have everything that we've talked about today, and you can go check it out yourselves.
Cool.
But I didn't know if you knew off the top of your head.
It probably is. Yeah, I just call it Crystal, but I think it is Crystal Knows. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. After we had talked about that a while back, and so I went and used it, and I was like, oh, that's almost creepy how
It is
accurate
creepy.
it is.
It is creepy. It is creepy. And I've even done it on some people's profiles that I know they had someone else write their profile,
Mhm.
and it still was accurate. And I'm like, dang, that's
Oh,
weird. So yeah.
thank you so much. Oh, I'm going to have to go and check these out. These are
Can I just gush about TextBlaze real quick? Because
Yeah.
if you do any of the apps from this, get TextBlaze. That
Mhm.
thing saves me so much. I program my calendar links into it. So like when I receive an introduction, I just hit I do the hotkeys. So I hit slash
Mhm.
reply, and it
Mhm.
populates the reply to the introduction and includes my calendar link and all the things. It takes me like 10 seconds to send that email out because I literally just type their name and my hotkey and it's done. And
Mhm.
you can program it for everything. And me going to find links for certain things takes way too long. It's fabulous. It's fabulous.
Ooh. Yeah, that's on my list to go check out this week. For
Yeah,
sure.
that is my number one by far.
Does anyone else have questions for Iris? All right.
Okay.
Well, all right. Well, then I'm going to share mine. I know we talked at the beginning about Hootsuite, and so Hootsuite is not everyone's favorite tool, but I've been using it for like 7 years, and so I think at this point, it's harder for me to switch to something new just because I'm so used to it. But Hootsuite has made some advances in the last year, and you can post to LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and there's just the ease of scheduling everything at one time for me is really great. I haven't really had a lot of issues about things posting or not posting, but you can upload videos. There are some limits to what it can do. And of course, my dog has started snoring. So if you've been on a call with me before, Otis, the wonder dog, is my office manager. And it is his morning nap time. So back to Hootsuite. So I like it, and it makes it really easy for me. And I think what I like about it is, I know Delana is really the social media expert, but I do just enough for some of my clients. It's more B2B, and so it's not as video heavy. It's not, so I can go in and schedule things for my clients. I can schedule things for myself. And I can just block out an hour and just say, hey, it's going to send on these dates, and poof, we're done. So that convenience factor for me is huge. I love Canva. There's the free version. I actually use the paid version just because there's so many options. There's so many more templates available. There is the music, there's the video animation, there's just a lot more availability. So it makes it so easy. And yes, those brand kits that Delana mentioned, I love those. They make it so easy for all of my clients, for what I like to do. Content calendar. So one of the things we haven't talked about today is when you are talking about your marketing, for my clients, for myself, I create a content calendar for the month. And so it's really going back to that marketing strategy side of things. So this month we're going to be talking about, so this week I know I want to do 3 Facebook posts or 3 social media posts. And so I'm going to use this day, I'm talking about this, this, and this. And here's what I want to say. And so I can type up what I want to say in my post, and I can say, oh, I want to use a picture about this, or I need to create something, or here's a video. And it just keeps it all together. It also helps me when I need to go back, especially with my clients, and say, hey, what did we talk about last month? Let's, what have we talked about in the last few months? Do I need to reuse some content, rework something? Do we need to talk about it again? It just keeps it all in one place. And so there are many, many different types of content calendars out there. And I'll share some links. The one I have is just an Excel spreadsheet that I created years ago that works for me. But some have bells and whistles and are really super fancy. We talked about microphone. So I got a blue snowball microphone, and it's improved the quality. It's not top of the line, it's not low end, but it really did make a difference, not only in Zoom and webinars, but even just talking on a regular client. It helps. It helps with some of the background noise, and it's just really easy. And then I also use a CRM. The one I have been using is Capsule. Not only, so it connects to, I use a Gmail, and so it connects so that you can just save your client information, you can save your email information. You can connect it to their companies. You can put tags in it about how you know them. Are these vendors? Are these potential clients? Do you need to follow up? Do you want to never do business with them ever again? Don't recommend. All of the different tags you might need for somebody, both good and bad. But if you've ever had something like, I know this person, how do I know this person, and where did they come from? And so it pulls it all together. So yes, I also really like the task feature on it. So if you've ever had an email and you think, okay, I need to do X, Y, and Z after I've talked to this person, it's really easy in this CRM just to put in your notes and your tasks. So okay, I said in 30 days I would follow up. So I just put that on my calendar so it'll automatically pop up. Or I need to connect somebody, and so I need to do an introduction for so-and-so. So I think a lot of the tools we've talked about today are really kind of interconnected to help us really just make our lives easier, which is what this whole webinar today was about. It was just to give you tools and equipment and things that as different marketing professionals, as business owners, have worked for us and may help make things easier for you. So I really hope that you have gained some insights today. Are there any questions that you all have before we start to wrap up? All right. Well, thank you all for being here today. I mean, I really, really appreciate your time, and I hope that this has been of value to you. Before I forget, if everyone who has been on the call today can stay for just a second, I'd like to take a group photo before we all jump off. But next month, we are going to be talking about converting marketing leads to sales. So marketing is great, but what happens when you get all these leads from marketing? Are you actually converting? Do you have the systems and processes in place to really make your business grow? And so there's a sales expert that we're going to be talking to about how you actually move your marketing from leads to sales, because I know that's sometimes an issue. All of the webinars that we've recorded, and this is the 18th one that we've done. So I'm really excited about this series. They are all on YouTube. And so you can go to King PR and Marketing on YouTube and talk about, there's so many topics at this point in time. So you can learn a lot about different marketing things. And because we are going into the holidays, and this is the time where everybody starts thinking about their marketing strategy for next year, and how do you integrate all of these different things that we've talked about today into your overall marketing strategy that aligns with your business goals for next year. I would love to have a chat with you if you guys are interested. Because I can guarantee that if you are creating a marketing plan, you'll probably be working with some of the people that are on this call today, as well as me. So if you want to set up just a 30-minute call to chat, this is my link, kingprmarketing.com/meet us, and we can schedule a 30-minute meeting to chat. But with that, I'm going to wrap it up today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you'll join us next month for our What Works marketing series. And I hope you have a really, really wonderful holiday season. See you next year.